We dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokemon. And we succeeded.
How's it going, y'all? Rowdy Riles back with another video. So I was at Target doing some quick toy hunting and I had two $10 gift cards and I was looking around. Is there anything new and cool that strikes my eye? And if you know, I like Pokemon, but I've been collecting blokees Pokemon, but I saw one that was really interesting. It was the Jazwares Select Mewtwo. And I think that this guy scales perfectly with blokees because Mewtwo, I looked it up, he's like 6'7". So he's like, this is like 1/12 scale. This is about right. So he's great for that. So we're not only going to go over him, we're going to go over a couple of the blokees that I built in a live stream, which you can go check out. It's called Let's Build Blokees Pokemon Live, I think. But yeah, check that out. And with all that being said, let's get into the video. I know nothing about the Jazwares Pokemon line, but I know that this is a brand new release, Wave 12. It has the street date of the 19th, so I got it early. It is a trainer team, articulation, and it's Mewtwo, and that's really all the box says. There's not much else on it, but you can see it has Blastoise, Mega Lucario, and Incineroar in the wave as well. And like I said, I already opened these blokees and built them, so the boxes are open, but they have really nice artwork, and they are officially branded Pokemon merchandise, which is awesome, and I think they scale perfectly with this Mewtwo. And of course there's more figures on the side of the box in the wave, and then you get to see a little bit of the features or parts that you get with this blokees Squirtle and Bulbasaur, and I think that they're really cute.
They will be protected here.
Wait till I call Professor Oak and tell him about this.
You will tell no one.
Bruh. The way this Jazwares Mewtwo looks is great. He also articulates well, but he's got loose joints and he can't stand on his own because of those loose joints unless you use the tail to balance him. But it is that classic Mewtwo design, and we all liked Mewtwo as a kid. He was super cool. He was like the bad guy renegade Pokemon, except he wasn't bad. He just wanted to be treated properly like we all do, and I think that we can all understand that about Mewtwo. He's a very powerful Pokemon and important to a lot of our childhood. I don't know what is on the side of his leg there, but there's like some orange smudge on there. I don't know what that is, but the paint is pretty clean otherwise, not that there's much paint. But yeah, tail is bendy wire, very cool, very fun. I literally messed with him for like 10 hours at work today. That was my shift today, so I was messing with him for like 10 hours on and off. Kept me entertained, mostly. Did get a little bored. And then of course we got two of the Gen 1 starter Pokemon. We got Bulbasaur and Squirtle. I always went with Bulbasaur myself, but let me know in the comments what your starter Pokemon was. And like I said, these blokees, I feel like they scale really well with the Jazwares Mewtwo. We're not going to get into that yet, but we will get to that point. But of course, these are pretty simple. These are blokees, so you know the quality of plastic is good. The paint is clean, and yeah, it represents the anime and video games very well, so you can't really go wrong with these $11.99 blokees sets. They're so cheap, and there's not really any accessories with these guys other than those vine whips, which are swappable. You can take them on and off. We do get little stands, and you do have to put a sticker on, and I do suck at stickers. Also, I suck at talking today apparently, but they add a little bit of dynamic display ability to these little blokees figures, and they're really fun. So we got a little grassy lake there, and then Squirtle, of course, is at the beach.
Squirtle, 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 Squirtle. Bulb.
And then the last thing we get with these two is we get a little trading card. Bulbasaur is number 1 and Squirtle is number 7. They're hollow, they're very nice. QR codes on the back. Find us on Facebook, and it gives you a little blurb about the Pokemon. After birth, its back swells and hardens into a shell. It sprays a potent foam from its mouth. That's from the Pokedex right there. For some time after its birth, it uses the nutrients that are packed into the seed on its back in order to grow and then evolve into Ivysaur and the Venusaur. Alright, so going over the articulation, like I said, this Mewtwo is a little loose, but at the head, so this piece plugs into the back of his neck, and it totally limits the neck articulation, because without that, he can go forward. Well, also the neck is sideways, but he can go forward all over the place. But as soon as you put that in, it really limits what you can do with his head, which is unfortunate. Shoulders come up, very loose. Bicep cut, pinless double elbows, those are very nice, they work very well. Torso articulation is beautiful, but loose. Same with the legs, these are very floppy. We've got knee joints, we've got ankle joints, we've got toe joints, very, very floppy. And then his tail is bendy wire, which is awesome, and it also rotates, but you have to have the tail posed so that he can actually stand. Like, you can't just have him standing, you have to use that tail for balance, or you can use the stand that he comes with. But he's a very floppy figure, and I don't know if that's common among Jazwares Pokemon or it's just this Mewtwo because of the way he's designed and the way the character is designed. I'm not too sure. I forgot to mention in the articulation, he also has articulated fingers. So you can make him doing a fist or open up his hands and be doing like psychic stuff. So that is another part of this figure, and I think it adds to it. All the articulation is great, it's just loose. And then the blockies, they're obviously going to be a lot less articulated, but with Bulbasaur, head sculpt can go not all the way around, but there's a decent amount. It does come unlocked. We've got a jaw articulation, which is very cute. And the legs have a little bit of rotation on a ball peg, and then you can move the vine whips slightly, and that's really it for Bulbasaur. There's not too much you can pose him at. Of course, they're stout little Pokemon, but Bulbasaur was in Pokemon the first movie, and so was Squirtle. So these will look great together. His mouth articulates, these arms barely move. There's a little bit. Tail, a little bit of swivel. Legs, a little bit of swivel. In the head, can actually rotate all the way around, so that's nice. But these guys are very limited in their articulation, but it's fine. And so we're going to talk about scaling next, obviously, and I did do the heavy work, when it comes to figuring out if Mewtwo and the blockies Pokemon scale together perfectly, and you'll be shocked by the answer. So the only 3 Pokemon you need to figure out if all of these scale correctly is Mewtwo, Blockies Charizard, and Blockies Pikachu. So I looked up their heights. Mewtwo is 6'7", standing tippy toes, and he's not quite on his tippy toes, but once you get him up there, yes, he's standing about a head taller than Charizard. Charizard is on average 5'7", which would put him a head shorter than Mewtwo in 6.5-inch Marvel Legends scale. So going down to there, Pikachu is about 1.5 feet tall, so he's up to Mewtwo's kneecap and Charizard's upper leg, which puts him around 1.5 feet tall. So this Jazwares Mewtwo, I know Jazwares is all over with the scale, but so far, Blockies is 100% consistent with 6.5-inch 1/12 scale Pokemon, and this Jazwares Mewtwo so happens to line up perfectly with that. So if you were looking for an articulated Mewtwo to go with your articulated Blockies Pokemon till they make a model kit that's probably scales even more perfectly, this is still pretty perfect. And these are all Pokemon that were present in Pokemon the first movie, so I think that's really rad. And also they're all in Smash Brothers as well. So there's 2 displays you could work on right there. Here they are with Revoltech Ryu Hayabasa. And like, the Pokemon scale together perfectly as far as like how high they should be to each other. Now Mewtwo may be a little short compared to some of these larger 6.5-inch figures, so that actually leads me to believe that they're more in like the standard 6-inch scale as far as they're scaling. So let me do something to illustrate that, because Ryu Hayabasa, he's a little large. He's supposed to be 5'10", and this one is like 6.7 inches tall, something like that. So here is a Black Series Han Solo. In the Star Wars Black Series, are closer to true 1/12 scale than like Marvel Legends. So as you can see, Han Solo and Harrison Ford is like 6'3", and he is about half a head shorter than Mewtwo. So that means that these Pokemon are perfectly 1/12 scaled as far as I'm concerned. Not 6.5, but 1/12. But it's kind of fudgeable at that point. Like, you can make Mewtwo a little bit shorter by putting his feet down, and then it just goes from there. So it's pretty perfect. It's pretty spot on. And I don't really think I need to do much more for comparison, really. But if we had like a SH Figure Arts Mario, which I don't, and apparently Hasbro is doing Zelda, not apparently, they are doing Legend of Zelda now. Maybe we're gonna get some 1/12 Nintendo characters to really start building out that Smash display.
This is neither attack nor declaration of war. You are the ones who created me, and I will strike back against you.
So with all of that being said, y'all, I really do like Pokemon. I know it's not a big part of my channel, but when I get some 1/12 scale Pokemon, I get happy. And I love Blocky's Pokemon. I was the one who was talking about Blocky's blowing up. I brought it up first. I was like, you know, they're doing this Pokemon stuff, and I guarantee you they're going to get more and do more, and look at where we are now. Blocky's is absolutely dominating in the cheaper model kit range with some amazing figures. And this Jazwares Mewtwo ain't no slouch. He's just a little loose. I don't know if there's a way to fix that with Kiki Joint Fix. I got him for free, essentially, so I don't think it's really worth it for me to do that anyway, because he can just go up on his stand and fly and look really cool. And then, of course, Squirtle and Bulbasaur are amazing, and we got Charizard already, so I want more Pokemon. Keep your head up, stay brave, be kind to local LGBTQ+ community. If you're protesting, be extra super duper safe. Check out r/Figure Fanatics. Follow me on Instagram. Check out the members only Discord, so also become a channel member. You can do all that stuff, of course. And yeah, I love y'all. I'll see you next time, and bye-bye.
Return to
mythical Walmart end cap.
Ah, Morty, you're still watching this crap, isn't this? To review figures and toys and stuff, aren't you a little old for toys? Ah, geez, Rick, you know, I don't think you should call her a bitch, and I kinda like her videos, so maybe you should shut the up. Q, Morty. Q.